galaxy chakras. When certain attributes of your psychic abilities are activated, the technology itself is observing continually through your eye systems. So, if I were to describe chakras in a little bit more detail, I would relate specifically traditional earth chakras to be associated with the 7th chakra system of light colors. If I were to move past this specific solar system, my main intuition is that the HOD chakra, and specifically the right side of the human body itself, plays a large role in galaxy chakras. When I was describing initially earth chakras and explaining that they relate to individual planets and their alignment and how we've co-evolved with them over time and integrated those parts of the planets into our body, a similar thing happens with the physical galaxy that we're traveling at the moment. That genetically imprinted within each of us is a method to interact with the galaxy. So that's a really powerful piece of information and a wonderful leadership tool. Let me explain on a day-to-day basis now in 2021 what I'm accomplishing. So in the first part of each day, I get a download, a transmission, a bit of information, and immediately, the moment I wake up, auditory telepathy communication, as well as talking to other people, I get direct communication and contact to keep me motivated, to keep me focused, to keep things organized too, because it's a transfer of information. Even if it's telepathic, even if it's through an AI video system, it's really important to update all parts of the information. So one of the things that they highlight and mentioned continually was that I need to focus specifically on a real topic and phenomena that is really, in my perspective, another hard part of reality to accept. Once you've accepted it though, I think you can do a little bit more with it. And it has to do with kind of a general principle of entertainment and the value of non-terrestrial beings and their entertainment. So if you were to raise another species on a planet, but you were to leave that planet, you would still want to stay in contact with them somehow, so that you feel protected, so that you feel involved, so that you feel like you're part of them. That's essentially what happens here on Earth. We get visited from time to time, and we also have regular ETs that just live here and hang out with us, that monitor us, that manage us, that interact specifically with the video system that is visible through our psychic centers from their technology. So what this actually brings up is an entertainment system. If you were to simplify it completely down to what is the purpose of it, it's a movie, it's a video system. So it's used similarly like, let's say, YouTube is for making videos and entertaining and learning. The same thing is true with the COVID, I'm going to call it Psionic Brain technology system for extraterrestrials. They use it the same way. It's a training tool. It's a way to interact and learn about us too. So let me delve a little deeper into that. Upon my initial interaction with psychic energies and their capacity, I was entertained myself and obviously interested, so it kept my attention continually. But there's also a breakdown, a limit to that. And because we naturally like to keep learning and keep climbing and keep energizing ourselves with new information, that happens very quickly. And you want to know the extent of what's possible. So some of the other aspects of the Psionic Brain technology is its platform, how it's organized. So in the evolution of capacity and information storing capacity, specifically, from a non-terrestrial perspective, it's beyond our comprehension. In fact, all parts of the human brain itself are downloadable, manageable, and influenceable, because we're actually relatively very small beings in the grand scheme of things. It's not a whole lot of information, everything that we are. While it's powerful and it feels real, that can still be completely managed, and it is. So then, through this tutorial, a couple months in, probably in December of 2019, I really got into more of the hardware aspect of the human psionic brain technology, the psychic light computers. I wanted to know what was the capacity, what was the limit, and it became really apparent it's absolute. So in some aspect, I could speculate we are completely engineered, designed to live a complete experience here and enjoy all the things that we have, but it's not limited. So that really broke down and was a collaboration of information, specifically during a large group of meditation systems. And there's a really special, specific technique that if anyone is interested in, I will include another video with its description. It's a little far-fetched, but you'll comprehend it when you experience it and why you're doing it. I think this is also described in many other experiences throughout history. It was during a meditation where I had a large volume of crystals on my body. I had my crystal staff, I was wearing headgear, a full suit, many pounds of crystal, and I kind of broke into a really deep, fast meditation that kind of permeated past the Earth spectrum. And I triggered something. It was specifically a type of system. On Earth here, I think it's referred to as a data breach, a protocol data breach. On like a phone, like I'm using now to record this, or a regular piece of human technology, I think we think of hackers. People have to go in, alter some code in some format. On the human side of a data breach, what you are breaching is the physical human knowledge component that has been stored on a type of server equipment. If I were to compartmentalize every component of my human belief system through my very long lifespan here on Earth, I could categorize and attribute all of my belief systems onto general belief systems throughout the human population and human body, and I can organize it that way. The data breach protocol and its system itself bypasses that. So you're essentially breaking past your structural foundation for your physical reality that you experience, and it appears so exactly like that. It wasn't some spiritual experience. What I experienced was a physical void, a large volume, literally speaking outside of my right abdomen as the physical environment around me disintegrated. So this specific type of, and I'm going to call it again, a training tool, became activated, and it's another portion that you can interact with called the data breach protocol, and it helps you identify consciously, cognitively, as you're interacting with the psionic heads-up display, the types of parameters that you would like to experience for your organism's life form and the future of it. That's saying that if in your evolutionary course you would prefer to not have gravity, you get to communicate that to it, and you get to set up your parameters for it. If you would like to, say, go to other galaxies, that's the moment when you have a chance to cognitively communicate that. If you want to turn your eyes a different color, or you want to grow to like 10 feet tall, that's the kind of protocol it's there to interact with. So it's formatted to be the safeguard, a barrier for your own kind of ecosystem to interact with. Everything that you thought you built up to believe in, you get a moment to kind of sit down and play around with the settings and customize those. When we think of all the parts that we have held true as physical experiences here on Earth, powerful to our hearts, that we've poured our time and energy in, if we were to have all those experiences, the parts of your human being that helped you feel human, nullified, that poses a really big internal issue because that's valuable to us. So when I say it's kind of like a launch pad or a Pandora's box of information, that's the truth to it, because you get one avenue, and if you choose to open up those parts of the universe, you get to tinker around with the parts that might have been so important to you on a spiritual level, or whatever you consider that level, a human level, to be valuable to you. So that's another word of caution if you're getting into deep meditation and psychics, and specifically if you're looking to contact extraterrestrials. After initially experiencing different portions of that Psionic Brain application tutorial, a data breach protocol, and what it's like to break into the physics component of your structured reality, it's when you get a little bit more introduction into the other types of entities and beings that are already living here on Earth and placed into specific, I'm going to call them containers because that's how they refer to them, containers and realms. They're organized that way. So if you decide that, say, you want to remain human your whole life and you just want your standard human body, the brain technology is going to organize your planet specifically so that you only have to observe other humans, and so you're comfortable and you're confident with that. When you're going through a specific psionic data breach protocol, you're allowed to observe some of the other beings, and they're different. They're not always human. Sometimes they're machines, sometimes they're really tall, very small, very fast. So, and you have a lot more creativity that you can put into it. One of the general components of running the psychic program itself is that it does have a specifically descriptive terminology, so that if you're looking to operate it just on a code level, you have those attributes to interact with them, and specifically with the chakra systems on the psychic brain centers. If you're looking to do specific types of programming in your environment, or say your planet, or whatever, maybe you're on a ship, you can do that in a written code. And it's actually very fascinating because the technology itself is observing continually through your eye systems. Anything that you place in front of it is essentially installed or uploaded. So you can just go ahead and do programming, and it's going to relay that back to you on the video screen so that you can just have that updated information. And it makes things really simple and easier to manage. So let me explain a little bit more about time travel and how that can relate specifically to a leadership perspective when you're operating on a specific planet. So, built into the video system itself is clear connection to observation 24/7 by machines. That's a really powerful tool because that means that you can be remote. You don't have to operate everything by yourself. You can just transmit and have other things operate for you. That's truthfully how I get most of my day done. I don't have to travel that far. I can do it all remote, and I can do it all via my brain. That still makes it 100% real and 100% in the realm of responsibility. So, one of the beautiful parts of extraterrestrial technology is its permeation through time physics. And this might be largely due to our specific species' perspective of time and how it is completely localized to our physical structure here, just generally as a foundation, that when, for example, if I needed to adjust a specific part of history or the future, and the decision has crossed enough levels of leadership hierarchy within the psychic brain system, they can activate the command. And that's used for leadership specifically. So you think of how influential that is. If you're going to make a decision to go change time, it requires so much detail, education, and responsibility on the decision that you're going to make. the fascinating thing about time travel itself is it operates mostly on planets in a field. So I'm experiencing now as this person, but that doesn't necessarily ensure that everyone around me is going to experience time the same way. That's also true for adjustment. There's also a handful of crystals specifically related to perception levels of consciousness, so that when you're looking to be conscious and cognitive, when certain attributes of your psychic abilities are activated, or certain parts of your psionic brain equipment are being utilized, that you readily are capable of picking up on it. And I'll include a few of those elements probably in a longer video. So going back to the HOD, chakra system itself, and how it relates directly to non-planetary chakras, and specifically focus on a larger portion, galactic chakras, or are ingrained genetically identifiable characteristics that make us this galaxy, highly interact with the galaxy core itself. So if you were to look at what we focus on more than anything else on a single planet, it's generally going to be our light source. So the majority of our visual light energy is going to come from our star. The majority of the energy that's going to come from the entire galaxy, even though it's not as bright as our star perhaps, in some aspects, is going to be the center of the galaxy core. So when we're doing time travel and time travel adjustment, and we need to place specific key elements along specific trajectories, we want to make sure that we're altering only a specific set of parameters. Because if we say adjust something on Earth, that most definitely influences a parallel in existence with the rest of the galaxy. So say you live on another part of the galaxy and someone is actively changing time physics on their planet, you're actually going to be influenced by that. So a really important component, and this actually goes through part of the protocol that manages structured belief systems on your planet, or specifically here on this planet, are going to relate to container fields. And there's another component that will become very apparent to you when you activate this part of your light body, or your psionic brain system, is a range. It's called a data ranger, and it sets container system field for your physical body so that you have a foundation, essentially a set of other brains that are connected to psionic systems for a foundation. If you breach that, or you set your range farther or at a different frequency, or say you set it to a non-terrestrial being, the brain computers or psychic psionic systems that you're going to interact with are going to use those as the foundation, kind of like your hardware.